live. Welcome to the Uprise podcast on a Friday, November 15th. Now, we got Brandt here. He's going to react to the Carmelo Anthony signing. Blazers signed Carmelo Anthony yesterday. We were planning a trade podcast that was going to air today. We were going to look at some trade possibilities, some trade ideas, but that got scrapped right when Carmelo signed with the Blazers. Blazers fans wanted a move. They wanted some excitement. They wanted a little bit extra added to the season, so to say. Well, we got that extra. We got that excitement. We got that move, and that move is Carmelo Anthony. So I reacted to it initially, had a 15-minute live stream. Thank you guys for tuning into that. Also dropped my breakdown video. But now it's time to get Eric's thoughts on Carmelo to Portland. So, Eric, what do you think of the move? I see you're fresh shaven. I haven't even mentioned that.
Yep,
you're looking all clean and stuff. Looking all clean. So what's your thoughts on Carmelo signing with Portland?
Well, I haven't stopped laughing since it happened. It's just funny to me. It's something that we've kind of talked about for a long time now, going back to, when he was refusing to put us on his trade list with New York. So it's kind of funny that it happened now. And on top of that, it'd be an awesome redemption story if he gives us anything this year. He's obviously a big national story was made by us signing him, and I think that's kind of cool.
It's kind of strange, actually.
Yeah, just this team, we talked about it a few days ago. They needed a spark, and we didn't think they would sign anyone with that extra roster spot, so we thought it would have to be via trade, which is why we. Which is why we were going to do a trade podcast today instead of the Melo signing thing. And then we got what was thought to be a little bit of a spark by starting Little. He gave us a lot of energy, and that's the kind of thing a struggling team needs. And then, so I think signing Melo is kind of going to invigorate the team a little bit, just give them a little bit of optimism, maybe a little bit more confidence. So not necessarily Melo himself. I just think the team needed to make a move just to make a move. And what better than to bring in a guy like that on a non-guaranteed contract. So if it doesn't work out, you can just cut him anyway. So I don't see any downside to this, really.
Yeah, I 100% agree. We have the same sort of reaction to this. Now, before I piggyback off of that, I know Eric's webcam isn't the smoothest. I'm in a Skype call with Eric. So I'm live in the Skype call, and I'm broadcasting this live, so it's a lot on my computer. In about a month and a half, once the new year rolls around, I will get some sort of upgrade, and things will be better quality-wise, synchronization-wise. I'll be able to hardwire my computer to the internet, to router. So just, if it's a little glitchy, apologies, but it's the best that I can do right now with the resources I have. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so. I gotta toss that in there. So yeah, man, I liked it because it doesn't. My main thing was it doesn't risk anything, and I assume you watched the trade or not the trade breakdown, the signing breakdown. So you kind of know my thoughts on it. It's no risk. What were we getting out of position before?
Yeah, and he's the type of guy where, Little got a ton of open threes last game. You won't be able to do that with Melo. I know he's not the greatest three-point shooter, but he's someone you have to account for on offense, and that's going to open up a little bit for the other guys, even if he's not shooting great. And like I said, it's not even necessarily Melo's abilities himself. It's just having a guy like that on the court helps other guys if he's effective, at least on the offensive end. Now, the defensive end is not going to help any of our problems right now. But our problems, I've been saying this for a while, the problems are scheme related instead of personnel related, and we're not fitting our personnel to our defensive scheme, or we're trying to force them into a defensive scheme that's not great for their skill sets. And until that changes, it doesn't matter. I mean, we could sign great individual perimeter defenders, and that would help a little bit, but that's not gonna, like a guy like Bazemore, who's a decent perimeter defender, like he's kind of neutralized in the system because it's not set up to provide him the ability to be aggressive on the perimeter because we don't have any inside defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
so playing Melo, I mean, at this point, like, what does it matter? Like, we suck at defense, so it's not going to get better anytime soon, unless we make major philosophical changes on that end. So, and actually, looking at his numbers defensively when he plays the power forward versus the small forward, um, they're not as bad at power forward. Like he can guard the stretch fours a little bit because he's quicker than most fours, but he's bulky enough to guard him in the post. I'm not saying he's good at defense. I'm just saying playing him exclusively at the four is probably best at this point in his career.
Yeah, I mean, and how many good fours come off the bench? Because I bring Melo off the bench.
Yeah.
I'd start Nasirlo just for defensive reasons. Just makes sense. You bring Melo off the bench. Stotts likes to play lineups without Dame and CJ on the floor now, or with one of them. And when Melo's only playing next to one of them, or when he's playing with none of them, then Melo can kind of dominate the ball, kind of be like his old self, isolate, create offense, that type of thing. And then his defense is going to be less of a problem if he's playing against fours off the bench, because how many good fours are there coming off the bench? You know, Rudy Gay might be the best power forward in the West that comes off the bench, maybe in the entire league. So like a Rudy Gay type of guy, he would have problems with. Of course, we face Rudy Gay tomorrow, but you know, he's not going to play tomorrow. It's being said in chat. Woes tweeted out that he's not going to play till Tuesday, so that's something we were wondering. So he's not going to play Monday in Houston, but Tuesday, second night of a back-to-back, Melo should make his debut against the New Orleans Pelicans, which is a poor team, so I think that's a good team to maybe try it out against. There's not going to be, you know, a ton of I don't know if there'd be hostility in Houston or what the reaction would be like for Melo in Houston, but we're just going to avoid that altogether because he's not going to play there. So I like him with that bench unit. His defense isn't going to be good, but as you said, like I don't think his defense is going to be worse than Tolliver's, and we were playing Tolliver regular minutes. We had to play Tolliver regular minutes, so dude's basically a better offensive version of Anthony Tolliver. Then we're going to be fine. Yep. I mean, Tolliver shooting 24% from three. I expect better out of Melo. Our sets bogged down in the half court. That's what we were talking about before the season, that the bench unit was going to struggle to play in the half court because we don't have anybody that can create something out of nothing at an elite level. You know, Simons can a little bit, but that's about the only player on our bench that can. So having a Melo like that, when our sets end up bogging down, when our sets end up becoming stagnant, and when we need somebody to go get a bucket out of that offense in isolation to create something, that's what Melo can do. And our ball movement is already very minimal, so I don't think he's going to hurt that at all. You know, we're not moving the ball anyway. So,
yeah, so real quick. So Woj's tweet, I think, says he's unlikely to play until Tuesday, not that he's not going to play
That's
Tuesday.
What I said.
I know, but chat's saying he's not playing Tuesday.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, he's not going to play Saturday, but he should play Tuesday, just to clear that up. So as far as, like, I can't think of a better person right now to pick up on offense for Stott's current offensive system, because it's all predicated on ISO and like the guards creating shots. So you add another person in there to I mean, he's one of the best ISO players of all time scoring the ball. I know he's old now, so it's not quite what he used to be, but like. Mm-hmm. He's one good thing about it is, unlike Dame and CJ, he can go in the post and create shots a little differently than they can. It's less like off the dribble and more off of, like, you know, isolating your guy like 15 feet from the basket or so. And that's an element that we haven't really had. I mean, Nurk sometimes shoots that jumper, but it's not great yet. Where Melo is, you have to get up on him and he can go by you and get to the basket, or he can, like, I know people don't think he's a good passer, which he's not, but he is he does have some. So I looked at his passing numbers, and so 1 year on the Knicks, he did average 4.2 assists a game. He had a really high usage
Yeah.
that year. And I know assists per game isn't always the most indicative stat of passing, but he is also a plus 20% assist percentage guy twice. And that means while he's on the floor, he assisted on like 20% of the baskets that were made, which isn't bad. Like 20% is really good. Like we always talk about that with CJ. If CJ was at 20%, he'd be an all-star probably. Um,
I expect his passing to be a bit like CJ's in how he shares the ball and how he makes plays for others. Like he's going to hunt his own shot first, his own shot second, but third option, he might make a solid pass. He might collapse the defense and make the right basketball play. Like dude's a veteran. Dude knows how to play basketball. Even though he's not somebody that's going to get 3 assists, 4 assists a game right now.
I kind of look at it like Aldridge. So Aldridge is a decent passer, but he shoots mostly first, but that doesn't mean he can't pass. Same with CJ. But like, I think we're going to use him kind of like we use Aldridge, with pick and pops, and we can go to him in the block a few times. But yeah, if he gets doubled or anything, like he is definitely able to make passes. So it'll be interesting to see at this point of his career, sitting out a year, if that's humbled him a little bit. Maybe he'll be looking to pass to like prove people wrong, And then also on the defensive end, he's going to work his butt off on that defensive end to prove that he still belongs in the NBA, because he's not just working for a contract now, because if we cut him in a couple weeks and no one else picks him up, his career is over. So he doesn't want to be out of the NBA. He wants a contract for the rest of this year and next year and probably a couple of years after that still. So,
Yeah.
So like, I really hope he tries to fit in with the team. Someone in chat's asking about how he'll be in the locker room, if he'll ruin locker room. The only person I've ever heard have a problem with him in the locker room was Harden last year. And I don't know why that was, but Harden.
I mean, it's already kind of a sketchy locker room with Chris Paul, James Harden anyway.
Yeah, and obviously Harden, Chris Paul had problems last year, so like there was something going on there. But like other than that, like everyone on OKC, everyone on the Knicks always said he was a good teammate and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's gonna come in and be a jerk or anything, especially considering, like I just said, he hasn't played in a year. He knows this is one of his last chances to prove something. I think he's going to be on like a great teammate, and I think he's going to go out of his way to try and do that. But yeah, I just kind of like making a move right now like this to try to. I mean, we had to do something. We're 4-8. Like, let's try something. We're depleted up front. Yes, there's guys like Joakim Noah or Fareed before he signed in China that maybe could have helped our rebounding and defensive situation a little more than Anthony would, but those guys aren't going to help you like score in the fourth quarter of games where we're blowing leads and can't score for 5 minutes and stuff like that. When you just need a bucket, like it's good to have a guy like Anthony on the team. That's not a guard that can be taken out as easily, because like if Dame gets doubled, Carmelo is a good option to have off that trap too, because he can handle the ball. It's fine. He's not going to make mistakes, and if he's getting shots up, it's kind of why with CJ, it only is exacerbated when he has a lot of turnovers in a game, because a lot of times, even though he's shooting bad, he's at least getting shots at the rim a lot. So,
yeah.
And then combine that this year with our offensive rebounding percentage is really low compared to it was previous years. That's not going to help with Carmelo either, but getting shots up usually leads to offensive rebounds or less runouts on the other end sometimes. So, yeah, I kind of like this. I know it sounds like I'm thinking he's going to be like an all-star or something, and that's not what I'm trying to say. Like, but yeah, I think he's going to be a good fit here, and situationally, especially once we start to get guys back, if he's still on the roster, I think he can help that second unit become like a scoring, take some pressure off of Simons from having to create shots in do too much with that second unit. And it'll probably allow us to rest Dame and CJ a little more sometimes because, I mean, those guys aren't great defenders either. So what would it matter if we have one scorer on the floor at all times, if those guys are both sitting?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree with pretty much everything you said there. And basically, just the easiest way I can sum this up, man, is if you already, if you have something with weaknesses, a team with certain weaknesses, and you add a player that has those same certain weaknesses, he's probably not going to make those weaknesses worse since he fits into what's already happening on that team.
Right.
That's the thing with Melo, man. Like, he has the same weaknesses this team does: defense, ball movement. So, obviously he's not going to fix those weaknesses, but I don't think he's going to make them worse because the guys he replaces. And that's the easiest way I can sum it up. And you went in. I love you going in like that. I love you going in like that. Well, that sounds kind of weird. I worded that kind of weird. But no, man, I don't know even what to necessarily respond to with that because it's 100% correct, and you just hit on many different points. So,
one thing we both picked up on is the amount of standing around on offense, and
yeah,
if that's not going to change, I mean, that's something that's coaching and going to have to be. Like, they're not all of a sudden going to run a different offense in the middle of the year, right?
Yeah.
So why not throw someone who's good at that kind of offense into the equation instead of trying to force guys like Hazonia and Tolliver to be ISO players? Because that's not their strength. Like, they are not good at those roles at all. So you might as well throw someone that is. And if our defense is going to suck, it's going to suck. I mean, it's hard to get people in right now that'll help the defense that much. I mean, like I said, a Joakim Noah would probably help our defense, but he wouldn't help a lot on the offensive end. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of excited about it, just to, like, not necessarily because I think he's going to single-handedly turn the season around, but like, it just, like, we were pretty down, and it's been really depressing so far watching them lose these games. And now it's kind of like exciting, like, oh man, what's going to happen? Like,
yeah, the storyline, man, the excitement. That's what I was saying. Blazer fans needed some excitement because, like, I started to notice that people were starting to tune out on the team a little bit. A lot of people were like, oh, I'm done watching this team. Now everybody's going to be watching this team, not just Blazer fans. The nation's going to be watching to see how Melo fits in. Nation will be watching, when Powell gets back, because Powell plus Melo, we forget that Powell is hopefully an option in the future. I still don't know what in the world is happening with his recovery because he's a month behind schedule. We've heard nothing with Powell, but when Powell gets back too, we got that passer from the elbow, and then we got the isolation scorer at the other elbow at the power forward center combo right there. I think that bench would actually, like, be a cohesive unit. I think, Pau Gasol playing with Carmelo Anthony would be really interesting to watch from a skill set standpoint,
right?
But also from, those guys are two future Hall of Famers. So I want Powell to get back. I want to see Powell with Melo. I'm glad. As I said in one of my videos, man. Shout out to Elias, $2 donation. He just says Melo.
What's up, Elias?
Sure. This is Melo. The channel is Melo Uprise right now because as I said in one of those videos, man, this helps out my channel. Like, honestly, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. People can see it. Got that live stream with 6,500 views. That live stream popped up, had so many people in their spam and chat. That was a cool experience, and that breakdown video is doing pretty well as well. So I got excited from, like, a fan standpoint.
Yeah.
Got excited from a fan standpoint for the storyline, for the entertainment value, but then also got excited from a YouTuber standpoint covering the team. Got excited from a content standpoint because first game, it's going to be what we'll lead off our post-game show with. That Tuesday game against New Orleans Pelicans, win or lose, we'll probably start that off talking about Melo. Shout out Elias, $2 donation again. I apparently need to use these free super chats for sure, bro. Or there's also donation links in the description for PayPal, because YouTube takes a portion of the donation money. So PayPal, I get 100% of it. And I also still shout you out because I got my phone with notifications on. So it's send me a notification. I'd still shout you out. And I also got Patreon if you guys want to donate to Patreon. There's some perks there. There will be perks in the future. That's like a monthly donation. But appreciate anything. The super chats are dope. I like seeing the little like blue bar pop up, or the little like it's like a blue or yellow bar or whatever. It's like it's a random color each time. I don't know. Anyway, where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, man. It's good. It's good for the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's good for the channel. So it's fun to make content around that. And I know it's like a lot of people tuning back in. A lot of Blazer fans that were tuning out. Now their full attention's on this Melo thing. So that's exciting for me. From a content creator standpoint, and that's exciting for me from a fan standpoint, because I can't wait for Tuesday to see how Melo does. He could do terrible. Honestly, he could be 0-for-8. But we've been watching Anthony Tolliver shoot 24% from 3 and provide literally nothing else other than shooting 24% from 3. So I feel like our bar for satisfaction out of that position off the bench is really, really low. You know what I mean? Just do better than Anthony Tolliver. Because and that shouldn't be hard to do. And hell, I could maybe shoot 24% on 3 and provide nothing else.
And I mean, he had several games on the Rockets where he scored 20 plus points. It's not like he was completely terrible for them. And it seems like there was reasons other than basketball related reasons why they dumped him. So, I mean, it's not that far out of the realm of possibility that he could average, 10 to 15 points a game for this team, especially with how many opportunities he's going to get. But like, if you just think about it from a spacing point of view, having Melo on the floor instead of like Little or Hazonia or someone like that, just that split second that the defender has to think about, like whether he should leave his guy to help out on a Dame drive or something, gives Dame just that extra little space he needs to finish. And that kind of stuff won't necessarily show up in the box score. So like, it's going to be frustrating if he's not shooting great from the national perspective, like, oh, Melo sucks, but I think he can provide a lot of little things like that will go unnoticed, but will be pretty cool to see on the floor.
For sure, 100%. Shout out Brian Scalabrini, $5 donation. Keep up the great work, guys. Appreciate it, man. So how many minutes per game do you think Melo's going to play?
I have this funny feeling. You don't think he's going to start, but I think Stotts will eventually start him. And I know it's not great right now, but hopefully by the time like Collins comes back and stuff, if he's still on the team, that we'll go a different route with that. But I could definitely, I mean, he was starting Tolliver earlier in the season and Hazonia, so I don't know what's going to happen there. I hope that it just goes to a rotation of Little and Anthony at the 4 exclusively. You can maybe give Hazonia some spot minutes at the 3, but hopefully this kind of pushes those guys out of the rotation, at least temporarily, until they can get more accustomed to the offense or something. But yeah, I'm guessing probably about 24 to 28 minutes a game, at least right now, while we're so shorthanded. And then that leaves, about maybe 15 to 18 for Little. And then, like I said, some spot minutes for other players there. I hope he just plays exclusively at the 4. But yeah, I think he's going to probably end up closing out a lot of games too.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely possible. I think I think it should be a situation where if he's hot, if he's shooting well for a game, then yeah, you'd probably have him close the game, unless there's like a Siakam on the court who you need a good defender to play against. I think it just needs to be situational, and I hope Terry Stotts is able to do a better job of managing situational basketball and recognizing what situations he should play certain players, because I think you start Nasir Little. I think you literally go forward starting Nasir Little
Yeah.
until you get somebody else. Like, you need that defense in the starting lineup. You don't need a fourth isolation scorer in the starting lineup.
Right.
You already got Rodney Hood. You already got Lillard. You already got McCollum. So I think it would be a mistake for Terry to start Melo at any point. At any point, I think it would be a mistake to start Melo. I don't think you start Melo. I think you got to bring him off the bench. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see if Stotts makes the right move. But you got to start Little. And hopefully Little keeps playing. You know what I mean? Because there was that whole thing after the game, after that Raptors game, where he didn't play a minute in the fourth quarter, and he was doing a great job on Siakam. I think Siakam was like 6 for 18, and then he finished 9 for 10 or something like that. He was 6 for 18 with Lil guarding him, and then Lil came out of the game, and Siakam finished 9 for 10. There will be stretches where Melo will have to guard a guy like that, and Siakam's going to, like a Siakam type, is going to do really well against him.
Right.
Also, Siakam's possibly a borderline top 10 player right now with the way he's playing. He's averaging 27 points per game, decent facilitator for a power forward position, and a really good defender. Like, Siakam's a beast, man. That dude might be knocking on the door being a top 10 player at this point if he's able to keep playing like this. So, it's not like dude's a slouch. Dude's going to be an all-star, maybe an all-star starter this year, but also, you need somebody that can slow those guys down. You need Little in that starting lineup 100%. I think he's the best defender we have at the power forward position. I think his energy is good to start the game off with a spark. He gets the crowd into the game. So I think that's what you got to do. And then if Melo doesn't hit shots during a game, I think you close out with Little. If Melo hits shots, then if there's not somebody that you need to guard at the power forward position, maybe you finish the game with Melo.
Yeah, and I understand that's what probably is best, but I just don't know if that's what's going to actually happen on the court, especially with Stotts as coach. I'm not confident that he won't just go back to the veterans at some point. And I'm hoping Little continues to earn, because if he plays like he did last game, yeah, he struggled offensively, but the spark he gave us both defensively and just with pure energy and stuff like that, this team needs that right now, and I think he earned at least getting to start multiple times after that game. It's not like he was the reason we lost that game or anything. So I hope that he rewards guys like that with more minutes in the future. I'm just not confident that the coaching situation will allow a guy like that to play more than he needs to out of necessity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to watch. I think once they get Powell back, if they get Powell back, I think you could maybe see some Labissiere at power forward too.
I mentioned this on the real quick on the post-game show that I heard Stott say something, and that's what it was. I remembered. So he was asked why Scal hadn't been playing any power forward, and he specifically said, "Well, I just kind of like to have him as the backup center right now, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon." So if you're expecting Scal to be the power forward at all, it's not going to happen.
Well, Powell comes back, Powell becomes the backup center, then
Right.
maybe Scal's role evolves. Maybe he plays a little bit of power forward and a little bit of center. You could have like basically a 5 big lineup with Nasir Little, Whiteside, Pau Gasol, Carmelo Anthony, and Skal Labissiere, since, Gasol and Anthony probably are going to play less than 20 minutes per game. Little probably going to play less than 20 minutes per game. Scal's already playing less than 20 minutes per game. So you got enough minutes at those positions to maybe run 5 bigs out there, and you'd be able to keep the older guys a little bit fresher, Carmelo and Pau Gasol.
Yeah.
That's enough minutes for a 5 big lineup, which is strange. We've never really done a 5 big lineup under Stotts, but Skal can play both power forward and center. So I don't know how you necessarily structure the substitution pattern in that regard, but I think that would make sense. And then in games that, Melo's struggling, maybe he gets less minutes, you play Skal a little bit more by having him ready to play that power forward position if need be. That way you can go big. Scal also should be shooting threes, which I don't know why he's not shooting threes this year. He's been a solid 3-point shooter throughout his career. He has a good stroke. He hasn't been shooting threes. Like he should be shooting threes, and that would make him more of a threat from the power forward position, because usually you want one shooter on the floor. But like he could play power forward next to Powell, because Powell can shoot. He can play power forward next to maybe next to Whiteside if he's able to space the floor a little bit, shoot a little bit more. So I think that having Scal ready to play power forward would be the right move for Stotts, and I think you just run a 5 big lineup and have guys like fresh, ready to go in there. If Carmelo gets hot, then maybe you don't sub in Scal. You know what I mean? Maybe you keep riding Melo, but just play it like that.
Yeah, we talked about that breaking down the roster before the season started, how Scal would probably get some developmental minutes. We weren't expecting all these injuries. But yeah, so in games where he did well, he'd probably get more minutes, and then games where he didn't, you'd see Tolliver more. And that's kind of how it was shaking out until the injuries. But yeah, now with Melo, you have to think that probably reduces Scal to strictly a backup center position until... Yeah, I mean, who knows what Gasol has. It's really frustrating right now, because if we had him, like even if it was only 10 minutes a game, that would really help our depth issues right now.
Yeah. I'm just reading through chat right now. We have a conversation going about Whiteside. Jason Jensen, ball hasn't been moving on offense because Whiteside isn't a competent passing partner, much less pick and roll. I just wanted to respond to this. You shouldn't have to rely on your center being some great passer in order to move the ball. Let me just say that right now. If you have to rely on your center getting like 4 assists per game and being a great passer like Nurk in order to just competently move the ball, in order to not be last in the league in terms of assists, then that's not a problem with the center. That's not a problem with Whiteside. That's not Whiteside's fault. He's not the reason the ball doesn't move, okay? Nurk helped ball movement because he was a great passer, but still should be able to move the ball a lot better than how they move the ball, even with Whiteside in there. And Whiteside has made some solid passes throughout the year. They're not really putting him in a position to really pass, but guys aren't cutting backdoor. Every time a guy has been open cutting backdoor, and Whiteside's seen him, he's delivered the pass without turning it over. Like he's made pinpoint passes on backdoor cuts this season. I just want to respond to that. Like Whiteside isn't the problem with the ball movement.
Well, also it's not like when we've had Nurk or Plumlee or guys who were good passing at the centers, it's not like we've been near the top in assists or anything like that.
Yeah, we've still been in the bottom,
Yeah.
It's our offensive system.
Yeah, and yeah, it's not, I mean, yes, it's great for an offense and it helps. The problem is the passing of Nurkic helps like contain the flaws in the offensive set for Stotts. So if he doesn't have a passer like that, all these flaws are exposed because he has no one who can make plays other than Dame and CJ. So if they get taken out of a game plan or anything like that, there's no way to counter that with just giving the ball to the big and letting him create for others. So yes, that in Stott's current system, it would be nice to have a player like Nurkic back, but that's not on Whiteside, in my opinion. That's on the coaching staff to curtail their system around the players they have, not around what they think is their system.
Exactly.
I kind of equate it to like the Lamar Jackson situation on the Baltimore Ravens right now in the NFL. So they like reworked their whole offensive structure around like bringing out the best of his abilities, right? And like, I'm not saying you have to completely tear down the offense, but why not have pick and rolls closer to the free throw line with Whiteside, or just have him stand on the baseline like 5 feet from the basket and just let someone else run the pick and rolls, or leave
You're cutting out
dump
a little
to him.
bit.
And like, why are we even bringing him out? Why are we even bringing him out like 25 feet away from the basket to set picks in those situations if we know he's slow and he's not going to even if he does roll and he's wide open, he doesn't have enough time to, because he's slow, to get to the basket or get to where he's going anyway. So you might as well put him in positions where he can score better. And
Yeah.
there was a time last game where Siakam was guarding him, and he had like a eight. It seemed like he had like a huge mismatch, and we didn't really do anything to take advantage of that. There's no like cross screens, no ways of getting him the ball stealing near the hoop. There were in the first couple games, both him and Collins had a play where they just ran down the court, basically ran under the basket, sealed their man, and we dumped it into him for an easy lay-in. Like, what happened to those? Like, why haven't we done that at all since the first game? There's ways to make it so he is effective on offense. And also, I mentioned this earlier, our offensive rebounding has been terrible this year. And it's because he's always away from the basket. When he's near the basket, he's gobbling up offensive rebounds. And it doesn't make any sense to have him playing so far away from the basket.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I think he's just kind of the scapegoat for a lot of problems that aren't actually his fault. And I think that a lot of people think he looks lazy when he's not actually being lazy. Some of it's the injuries he's dealing with. Some of it is, he's just big and slow. So I think that Whiteside is a bit of a scapegoat. He kind of took Myers' spot. He's traded for Myers. He kind of took Myers' spot as the scapegoat. I just want to give a huge shout out to Eli Industries, who donated me $21 on PayPal. That's the biggest donation in this channel's history, and it was on PayPal, so greatly appreciate it, my guy. That's a huge donation. If you guys want to donate, I will read out your PayPal donations too as well. There's a PayPal link in the description, or you can super chat or whatever. People supporting the channel a ton lately. You guys have been killing it with the donations and stuff, and I greatly appreciate it, man, because like I don't do this for the money, but you know what I mean? Like it shows me that you guys like, it's supportive. So like it makes me feel good. Makes me feel really good about this, and I appreciate it. So
Mixed Bags asking if you're gonna split that with me. I just do this for fun. I don't want any monetary stuff. So
hey, I offered
no,
I offered some sort of deal to him too. It's not like
Yeah. Tori's the creator of this. I have fun on these podcasts. I enjoy talking basketball with you guys. So
if you need like party stuff, go visit Eric's store. The party shop, right?
Party spot, yeah.
Party spot in Beaverton.
It's in Aloha, yeah, Beaverton area.
In Aloha, yeah. He owns a party store. So if you need party stuff, that's how you support Eric. You go to his store. Or if your friends need party stuff, you shout out that store. That's Eric. Eric's thing. Eric's business. He's the business owner. He's the main guy. He's the mob boss of the party spot.
And I know when Tori makes it big here in a year or so, he won't forget about me either. So
no, you're gonna be rolling with me for sure.
Yeah.
This is Nate. Yeah.
Hey, Mixed Bags, no, he knows. Yeah, we're right next to the Roxy's.
Yep. That's dope, actually, that he knows. Ryan Birchfield, because you kill it, Tori. You guys kill it, man. This community is awesome. Eric is the GOAT. Eric, you're the GOAT.
Woohoo.
So
thanks.
Last thing we gotta cover is our betting picks.
All right.
I killed it on Wednesday. I was 6-1. Okay, so what we do, for those of you who don't know, we take the spreads of the games tonight. I haven't looked at any scores, so I know some games are live because it's 4:30. I know some games are less live, but I'm not looking at any scores.
Yep.
And what we do is we bet against the spread, and we also ask chat to bet against the spread. Chat could be looking at the score, but please don't look at the score. But also, you guys are kind of struggling right now, so you guys might need the mulligan right now. But I killed it with my picks against the spread. I was 6-1 on Wednesday. The only game I lost was the Celtics being favored by 7.5, and they only won by 7. So I was almost 7-0. If they got one more point against the Wizards, would have been 7-0. So I think I passed you up. What are our records now?
You did. You're up one game on me now. You're 14-11, and I'm 13-12.
Dope. Yeah, because you were giving me crap. You were giving me crap on Wednesday, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna be bold with my picks and try and pass you up by picking against you a little bit, and it worked. So yeah, so here we go with today's games. You said we got 7 games.
I think there might be 8. And by the way, chat's been terrible, so pick it up, guys.
Come
You
on,
got
Chet, you got
you guys are
let
4-7 so far.
4-7. Hey, I think I started 4-7.
Yeah.
Look at me now. I'm 14-11. I would have been making some money if I was placing actual bets on the spread. So,
And then one thing real quick, just only vote once so we can kind of take a quick vote on who's
yeah, we'll just take whatever the majority votes in the chat. But don't spam like the same pick 5 times, because then it's hard to read. So here we go. What do we got for the first game?
I feel like we have a lot of teams that only play on days when we have podcasts. So first game is San Antonio at Orlando, and Orlando is 3-point favorites.
I'm taking Orlando. San Antonio has been playing really, really bad basketball lately. I picked against them against Minnesota on Wednesday. That worked out for me. I also picked Orlando against Philadelphia on Wednesday. That worked out for me, so I'm going to keep rolling with that theme. I'm going to pick the Magic to cover the 3-point spread against the Spurs. That's also kind of nice. I didn't realize that the Spurs were going to be on a second night of a back-to-back after traveling home.
Yeah, playing in Orlando
tomorrow.
Tonight. Yep.
So that's, hopefully that's something that will help us.
All right.
Chat, let me know who you pick. Eric, who are you picking?
I'm going to take this is a tough one. I'm going to take San Antonio to get it together against Orlando tonight. I think that match up well with them.
I'll leave 10 seconds for you guys to vote right now. This stream is almost live, almost like straight live. So we got 2 Spurs votes, 3 Spurs votes.
We'll go San.
5 for Spurs, none for Magic. So I'm going out by myself for the Magic. We'll see if that works. All right, who we got? Game 2.
It worked for you the other day, right?
It did. It did.
So next we have our podcast special team, Detroit, who always plays. They're 4-point favorites in Charlotte tonight.
Who are you picking?
I am going to. This one's tough too because Detroit's let me down several times in this game so far.
I know.
But Charlotte sucks too. I'm going to take Charlotte at home getting points.
I'm taking Detroit, man.
All right.
I was looking at their stats. Kennard's playing absolutely great.
Oh, he's playing great, yeah.
Rose is playing great. Drummond's playing great. They just got Blake Griffin back. I don't understand why that team is 4-8. Like they've had good individual performers. I think they'll get it together. So chat, who we got? We got 2 votes for Detroit so far. I'll give you guys third for Detroit. All right, we're gonna roll with chat voting Detroit.
Blake's back. What's Blake's back?
Blake's back from injury.
Blake Griffin, yep. Then we got Utah is 7.5 points against your second favorite team, the Memphis Grizzlies.
In Utah?
In Memphis.
Oh, I'm taking Memphis.
All right.
I'm taking Memphis. Memphis has been a good bet for me so far this season. Memphis is underrated. And it's in if it was in Utah, I'd probably take Utah, but it's in Memphis. I'm taking Memphis. 7.5 points, that's a lot.
I'm also taking Memphis as a 7.5 point home favorite or underdog. Anytime you're getting that many points at home,
so if Utah wins by 7, whoever picks Memphis wins. That's the 7.5 point spread.
Yeah.
Utah's favored by 7.5, so they have to win by 8 or more to cover the spread. So that's why we're saying the spread. If any of you guys were confused, we got 2 for Utah, 1 for Memphis. I'm gonna leave another 10 seconds for you guys to vote.
Utah.
10-15 seconds. Well, might be more. Third Utah.
That's the going home party for Conley.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So there might be some extra emotions there.
All right, they're voting Jazz.
All right. And then next up, we have Washington in Minnesota, and Minnesota is 6.5 point favorites.
Does Minnesota have any injuries that you know of?
Not that I know of, no.
I'm voting Minnesota. They've been really good. Andrew Wiggins might be making a case for most improved player. He's been facilitating well, which is strange. He's been rebounding a lot better. I've always talked about Andrew Wiggins as a type of like super overrated player that just has volume scoring that's not efficient and doesn't do anything else. Now he's rebounding better. He's passing the ball, and his scoring is efficient. And he's averaging like 25 points per game. So he might be starting to shed that bust label. That's a dark horse candidate for the All-Star team right now. If he keeps up those stats, that guy might make the All-Star team. So I'm taking Minnesota, even though it's 7.5 points. It's a lot, but they've been playing really well. So I'm taking Minnesota.
I'm also taking Minnesota, primarily because they have pretty good defensive wings too. Like an Okaji could shut down Beal.
What'd you say, Okaji?
How do you say it?
Akogi?
Akogi.
Come on, man. You know these players, their strengths and weaknesses, but you can't say your pronunciations crack me up.
Anyways.
Oh, sorry. That just surprised me because I know you know your guys.
They can also put Covington on Beal too. So I think they're gonna
Covington.
I said it right.
Covington on Bell. Yeah. Shout out Elias. $2 donation. The 2121 was me. Just FYI. Okay, Elias is killing it. $6 in the super chat and 21 on PayPal. Greatly appreciate it, my guy. You got the record for the largest donation in Blazers Uprise history.
What was it? So, Eli Industries or something?
Eli Industries.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't. If that's a business, maybe that's why this dude's dropping 20. Dude got a whole industry. Eli's industry. So chat went with Minnesota.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right.
We're on to game 5.
Yep. We have the Philadelphia 76ers are road favorites by 3.5 at OKC tonight.
You said, wait, sorry, I totally blanked.
The
notification popped across my screen. I blanked.
Philadelphia 76ers are 3.5 point favorites at OKC tonight.
76ers 3.5 point favorites. OKC. Sixers. Unless Embiid isn't. Even if Embiid plays, I'm taking Sixers.
Embiid is playing, yeah.
Yeah, Sixers. I figured the line would be bigger than that, but
yeah, I'm taking Philly as well.
Robbie Stackhouse, when I get paid, I got you, my guy. Appreciate it, bro.
Almost. I think there's only one OKC. All the rest are Philly. So.
All right, there we go.
And then we have this.
Their chat's picking the favored team. That's what I noticed. Chat picks the favored team. They don't really go for the underdogs.
Yeah. So this is a pretty good game, I think. The Indiana Pacers are in Houston tonight, and Houston is 5.5 point favorites.
Pacers in Houston. Houston 5.5 point favorites.
Yep.
I'm taking Indiana. I'm taking Indiana. Broadway's been killing it. 5.5 points is a lot.
Yeah.
Houston's been winning games, but they haven't really been blowing teams out. Houston hasn't been that good. Pacers are underrated. I'm taking Pacers for sure. Can't wait for Oladipo to get back because that's a dark horse team in the East.
Yep. So it looks like most of the people are taking Pacers as well.
Owen Har, if you got the Rockets by less than 5, then you got the Pacers. That's the spread. Rockets are favored by 5.5 points. Then if you think the Rockets will win by less than 5, then you'd be voting Pacers basically. Because you're voting Pacers with the 5.5 points for the Rockets, if that makes sense. So we got Pacers. That's the underdog. That's the underdog from Chet.
And then next game is Boston is at Golden State, and Boston is 7-point favorites. Boston is red hot right now.
Boston at Golden State?
Yeah.
Boston's covering that spread. Robbie Stackhouse, I don't know when Vucevic is back. I assume you're talking about Vucevic, or are you talking about Victor Oladipo? You're talking about Victor Oladipo. Yeah. I don't know why I thought Vuce. I thought he was misspelling Vuce. Late December, I think, is the timetable for Oladipo. I hope he's back sooner than that, but sometime around the new year. Who are you voting?
I'm going with Boston too. Just riding the hot team.
Chat's rolling with Boston as well. They've won 9 in a row, I believe. So I think it's going to be like a 20-point blowout. I'm surprised the spread isn't more on that.
And then we have the red hot Sacramento Kings at the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers are favored by 10.5. Keep in mind, still no Fox and Bagley.
Who are you taking?
And Anthony Davis is playing tonight, so I'm going with the Lakers at home. Even though that's 10.5 is a lot to cover.
I don't know. Heads is gonna be Sacramento. Tails is gonna be Lakers because I don't know. I lost one. All right, I'm flipping a quarter. Heads is Sacramento. All right, I'm rolling with Sacramento.
All right.
I didn't want to think about that one.
So the first two people said Kings, and the next 5 went Lakers. So
all right, they got the Lakers. Alrighty.
All right, so that's it for tonight's action.
I look forward to whooping your ass again tonight, just like I did Wednesday.
Building a bigger lead.
Yep. 14-11. That means I probably would have made money. I wish I could bet on these, like bet $1 each game.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, that would add up. Shoot, man, I would have been pissed if the Celtics blew. Like if I did a parlay, it's like a full night's parlay, and the Celtics blew that when they had like a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then they only won by 7, and I lost by 1 point. Lost that parlay. That would have sucked on Wednesday. Yeah. So anyway, I think we're about done with this podcast. We will have a post-game show tomorrow. I don't know if I'll put out any content before then. I kind of haven't been putting out videos like that. I need to get Peeps and Plaid's podcast uploaded. I was literally working on like a new thumbnail style for Peeps and Plaid. And I had their video uploaded when the Carmelo thing broke, so then I went into like Carmelo's coming to Portland mode. So I still got to get their podcast up.
Yeah.
So sometime tonight I'll have their podcast up. It was recorded before Carmelo signed, but still I owe it to them to get that podcast up for them. I'm just working on a new thumbnail. I'm trying to make the thumbnails a little bit better and a little bit easier to understand what the video is. So like I have a new like mailbag thumbnail in the works. So you guys will be able to more easily tell what videos are about compared to just having like kind of like a generic Blazers photo, that type of thing. The thumbnail tonight is kind of like what I'm looking for the Uprise podcast thumbnail style. So I'm just trying to like create more quality thumbnails, and so you guys can easily recognize what different videos are. So that's what I'm working on. So hopefully that's something you guys like. So Melo gonna play on Tuesday in New Orleans. That's his debut, as reported by Wojnarowski. Right, he said he's not going to debut before that, so I assume that's going to be his debut is Tuesday.
Yeah, there's people saying again that he won't play in Houston. Woj said that he is unlikely to play before Tuesday, so that would mean that he should hopefully play Tuesday.
Yep. Also, I have been thinking about maybe trying to put out a Keep Portland Melo type shirt. With like, I don't know, I want to put out like just like a kind of a memeable like Carmelo Anthony type shirt if people would want that. I got a cool like design in mind, and like Keep Portland Mellow, like the Keep Portland Weird slogan, just keep Portland mellow. I think that'd be dope. So
hey, it's got to be a hoodie, right? Not a shirt.
Ooh, it does have to be. Oh, yeah, you're right. Shoot. Like one of those short sleeve hoodies.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude.
Can we petition the NBA, by the way, to let him wear a hoodie in game?
That'd be dope though. And then like maybe like some sort of like logo where it's just like the outline of his face, not necessarily his facial features or anything, just like the outline of his face with like that kind of like thin beard strap that he normally has with like the stash, but like a hoodie like over that, you know what I mean? Just some sort of like little like minimal like design where you can tell it's like Melo's face with a hoodie over it, just one color, just like an outline sketch type thing, and keep Portland Melo, and it would be a hoodie itself.
Yeah. So someone's gonna steal this idea.
If y'all steal my idea, I have a crush. No, I trust it. If somebody steals my ideas, we'll know who steals my ideas, and we'll call them out, and we'll have some YouTube drama, and that'll be entertaining in itself. So, might come out with like some sort of mellow hoodie. That'd be dope.
Joe Mama in the chat says we got Rodney Hood and Carmelo Anthony combined. They become Hoodie Mello.
True. Hood and Mellow. Hoodie Mellow. That's funny. So anyway, that wraps up this podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to Elias for the donations. He killed it today. We'll be on tomorrow, Saturday. I don't know if I'll have you on. I don't know.
I work tomorrow night, so it depends on what time the game ends.
Okay, do you guys want Eric on the post game show tomorrow? Show your support for Eric in the chat if you want him on that post game show tomorrow. I'm waiting for all the Eric spam. If you heads, I'll invite you. Tails, I will. You got a heads. You're invited to the post game show tomorrow. Oh man, better copyright that quick. I gotta sketch. You know what? I'm gonna go try and sketch that up right now.
Yeah.
If there's anybody who's a graphic designer, I need to hit up my dude Animate Jake. Yes, Eric official co-host for the podcast, not the post game show, because I do want to have different guests on the post game show in the future. But he's like, dude's an icon. Eric's iconic. So, bring beer. we gotta do like a.
We do need a watch party.
A drinking post game show. Just get drunk for a post game show. There's a game that me and my girl like to do during Blazer games where we'd each pick like 3 players, and every time they'd hit the 3, we'd take a shot of like some super hard shit. At halftime, if we were hitting 3s, then at halftime, the second half, every time we got a dunk, we'd both take a shot. And that was a game we used to play. So I might have to do that. That'd be that's a cool like Blazers drinking game.
If we played 3 players on the other team hitting 3s, we'd all be dead by halftime.
Oh, I know. There would be no post game show. We'd be gone, bro. Oh, dude, the post game show would come on. I'm just blacked out. Robbie Stackhouse, can I join the drinking pod? Yeah, you can get drunk for the drinking pod, or shoot, man, it would be cool to do a watch party and have you guys like on the podcast or on the post game show. But if you guys want to get guest opportunities for the post game show or podcast or whatever, donate to Patreon. $10 a month or more on Patreon, you'll get an invite to a podcast or a post-game show. I know I got a couple of those I get out. As I've said, I'm just kind of like, my life's hectic right now. But if you guys want to guest appear, then Patreon link, there's information in terms of the perks. I can't like invite everybody on, you know what I mean? If I open it up to just people in general, then like, how am I gonna pick? You know what I mean? There would be like a lot of people that want to appear. So $10 a month on Patreon, you'll get occasional invites to a podcast or post game show, like once every 2 weeks to once a month. That's kind of what I'm planning. That would be way to give back to you guys for giving to us. Whoa, you buzzing? Yeah. Your phone blowing up? All right, so for sure.
All right, later,
Patreon
guys.
Links in the description too of this podcast if you guys are interested in that. Knicks fan, just subscribe for the channel for Melo and Rip City. Shout out to all the Melo fans coming over to Blazers Uprise. Appreciate it. So anyway, I'm signing off. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Catch you guys tomorrow for the Spurs game and that post-game show. And
go Melo.
As always, go Melo. Peace out. Keep it mellow. Go Blazers.